And welcome back to the Battle Theater. We're about to get down to business and finish this series between C9 and Liquid. In Game 2, Liquid still on the way back into this series and forced that game number 3.
Yeah, and Dardoch had a redeeming Rek'Sai game for sure. After the first game where he lost the matchup against Meteos, he was really all over the map on a team where it seemed like Cloud9 was going to have the initiation potential. Team Liquid was just all over them, and Dardoch was the front and center in that push.
I have to say, like, he hasn't played that much Rek'Sai. It's a huge champion for Meteor. It's a big statement after losing game 1 for me to go back to that matchup, but completely redeemed himself there. Made me a believer of the Dardoch Rek'Sai now, which is maybe a worry, honestly, for C9 coming in. But other than that, you know, definitely adjustments here. Bunny is back into the lineup as well, so no surprises there. Maybe some surprise, but the kind of hot swapping of supports continues.
Yep.
Maybe Bunny brings something different, but again, Smoothie and Bunny have both been rock solid.
Yeah, and this would be one of the support changes that you can actually follow logic behind. It's not just swapping every game. It's like Bunny won game 1, Smoothie lost game 2, bring back the guy who won the first game, try and regain that momentum. And it's been a super interesting series, and it's kind of like figuring out what to expect for game 3. The top lane matchup has been extremely pivotal. I feel like if they can get impact on a winning matchup and put Lorlo on something that's not Trundle, I think the Trundle ban comes back, because that was the breaking point in that first game with Impact having a massive performance. And then when that happens, they need to prevent Team Liquid from piling down the mid lane at Jensen, because when Jensen is able to thrive, C9 does well, but he got completely ganged up on in game 2.
And that's, you know, for as good as a player as Jensen is, not even he can survive that many repeated gank attempts. Eventually it stuck, and Cloud9 just kind of slowly fell behind. There were moments again, still where they're clearly showing a lot of that strength and shot calling and macro play, but Team Liquid just said, you know what? Screw that, we're just going to go straight at you. And eventually they wore C9 down and broke straight through. I love the styles of these teams from what they've shown so far. And maybe Game 3 changes, because they've both won in a certain way, they've both lost in a certain way. Be curious to see if they, you know, try and take a bit of both and blend it in, or they just play the styles again and we kind of see who wins the last game.
Yeah, by the way, Bunny Fufu is just finishing warming up. He's granted a little bit extra time because it's technically a substitution and needs to reset up all the stuff on his machine. That allows to get in the game. But yeah, I'm actually a little surprised at how slow Cloud9 has been playing and how Team Liquid have been the ones that have been able to push the tempo, because especially early on in the split, Cloud9 wins were like those 36 kill bloodbaths, really, and it just hasn't been the case here where Team Liquid has been able to control them. So I think the aggression comes back, and the Trundle ban is not even close to a surprise.
Yep, instantly banned away. Before we could almost fade the champion select back in, C9 had already sorted that out. Cassiopeia will be banned again here, so 3 straight Cass bans. 4 actually, I think, if you want to get technical, but we won't. TL though on the red side for this last game. C9 over on the blue. We'll see if that changes anything, at least moving into the drafting portion of it. But huge pivotal game for these two teams to play. It could be the first time really that an upset has happened this split of the LCS in NA.
Absolutely. Team Liquid and the things they will have had to have overcome to win this game, feeling like they'd have to win 3 games in a row, because when the remake happened in game 2, they did have a lead. But obviously, maybe it's the blue side and the pick ban advantage. Like, the first pick has held pretty big sway in both of these games. When it was Shen, the first pick for Cloud9, and when it was Trundle, the first pick for Team Liquid. Those have been really effective.
And there's an Azir ban, which isn't surprising from Cloud9. Definitely respecting the pick there. But Olaf is quite surprising there, taking that away from Dardoch. Vlad, the standard and expected ban here for TL. They might hit the Rise. Maybe Victor gets a look out, but Rise would be the obvious ban. We'll see what plans TL have here, because you have to know that Jensen and maybe even Impact are happy to take it if it's left up, but TL are taking their time with this final ban.
Yeah, and with that Olaf ban, you're really trying to figure out what that's trying to block. Potentially because the Karma wasn't banned and they maybe didn't want to first pick Shen. They were a little worried of the Olaf Shen Karma thing that you can do. That's about all I can see, because like that's not something Team Liquid's picked in this series. It is something they've played in the past, and that's the best I can think of as far as that ban coming through. At the very least, though, they get Rise, and that's pretty important.
Yeah, Rise for C9, because the Ashe was actually the final ban from Team Liquid. I wonder if Fabi decides to just pick up Sivir here. It was banned away, I believe, in game 2. But Fabi got his hands on it in the first one. Can't imagine C9 are too afraid of the pick. But we'll see what Team Liquid have in store here, because they pretty much knew they were giving away Rise.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And the Braum has actually been a fairly banned champion throughout this series. This, again, cycles towards Team Liquid's team fighting. And the game they lost is when they had the inferior team fight composition, whereas last game, they were able to play the map well enough using the strength of being stronger 5v5. So expect them to go a similar route this time as they lock in both the Braum and the Rek'Sai.
Yep, picks locked in. Dardoch again, gonna take Rek'Sai into battle. See if Meteos fancies the Graves pick again, or if maybe has something different in store. Looks like Kindred dropping a little bit perhaps, as she might be kind of tumbling away out of the metagame.
We don't switch patches until next week,
True.
I believe. So there's more Kindred Nurse in that patch. This is still a patch behind the live servers currently. But yeah, there's all the options really for C9 right here. They could just go with Shen. I feel like that would give them a lot of map pressure.
Ooh, I love it.
They go with Gragas.
Meteos gonna take the playmaking jungler, and there's actually the takeaway from Fabi. Sivir will go into Sneaky's hands. Fabi might just play the Jhin again, but will not get the Sivir that he might have wanted with the Team Liquid Ash ban.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Team Liquid has what they feel to be pretty high priority picks with the Rek'Sai and the Braum, but that leaves the Sivir up. And then the fact that C9 picked Gragas kind of just tells me, well, this is all the priority picks they want. Now they just want to react as much as possible with their other solo laner and their support.
Well, I do like that Cloud9 are maybe thinking, you know what, we're going to take a bit more team fighting perhaps into the mix, because they kind of know that TL sort of outdid them there in that particular instance. Victor, though, the obvious pick for Phoenix. Fabi will go back to the Jhin, so everything is normal for now as Lolo looks like he'll get the counter pick there for top lane. Not obvious just yet, but will be, of course, once C9 finish these picks.
Right, Shen's still available. His Aurelia has been good, even though it seems to have fallen out a little bit of favor. Everyone thought it was going to kind of take off with the Trinity Force buffs, but it seems to get fairly neutralized in a lot of matchups, and then still isn't super strong in team fighting. Speaking of team fighting, that's what you say Cloud9 has a lot of right now. Do they go with Shen, or do they go with more of a carry in that lane? Or do they throw Ryze up there, pick a different mid laner for Jensen?
Yep, options here certainly for Cloud9. But Repeat, you can see it on your screen, always with a steely gaze. Gonna have to decide what he wants. Sneaky looking to pick Bunny Fufu, of course. Back into the lineup. We'll be selecting Bunny Fufu, big playmaker. He's gonna go to Bard perhaps, but maybe the Aurelia takeaway here for Impact.
Yeah, they preempt the Aurelia pick with Shen still on the board. So really, they're looking for, this looks like a double TP team to me, where they're gonna try and set up Gragas, Sivir, Bard stuff with either Aurelia or Ryze teleporting in, and a lot of splitting around the map. So does Team Liquid just go Shen to try and neutralize this? Shen is usually the natural pick into the Aurelia, and it's obviously up on the board, of course.
Yep, and there it is. Lolo takes the obvious pick. Again, I think Cloud9 knew what they were getting into, but power shifted a bit into Impact's hands. Sneaky certainly going to do plenty of work on the Sivir, but is, like a lot of AD carries in the current metagame, more of an enabler than anything else. Bunny Fufu being back on the Bard, good takeaway from Matt, maybe gives Cloud9 a bit more of an edge in some of these fights. But this is sort of what we come to expect, given the current state of the game. I think both teams at some point going to run at each other, and I'm not sure who wins, at least based on drafts.
Exactly, they both picked relatively good team fighting compositions. I feel like Team Liquid had so much success with Jhin and Rek'Sai getting picks in the last game, and they also got Phoenix onto Victor once again, which is super important. But this is also Ryze for Jensen, plus the ability of Meteos to gank the lanes could be really brutal. So maybe we see a really snowballed game. If one of these teams gets ahead, they're going to be able to dictate. But if not, as you mentioned, them running into each other, you're not really sure who's going to win. So a really exciting game 3 in winner take all here.
Certainly is. And before we settle this tie, show off your smarts by calling the outcome of this match on Twitter. Register your vote by sending out the hashtag C9win or the hashtag TLWin as a final game to play between these two. Cloud9 look like a top 3 team in North America. Team Liquid looking to maybe create themselves up to the ever-present spot towards that top 4. This is a step in the right direction if they can beat C9 here.
Yeah, it really is. And would be the first really top team they would have been able to beat, because currently Team Liquid is sitting at 4-4, suffering defeats to Envy, TSM, COG, and Immortals, which are teams you typically expect them to lose to, even though COG would technically be the only team below them in the standings they've lost to. They've beaten Echo Fox, Phoenix One, Energy, Apex. Really, this is a defining game for Team Liquid of whether or not they are in the upper echelon of LCS teams or whether they're towards the bottom.
And it couldn't come at a better time. We always talk about the Liquid storyline. It seems like they're constantly rising. The joke might be over, because this could be the game that decides it. Almost smack bang in the middle of the split as well. If Team Liquid want to have a big dream run towards the back end of the season, your time starts now. But Cloud9, have not been in the habit of dropping games recently. They are not interested in dropping this one. As the teams move out onto Summoner's Rift. Just a fan out for now. Looks like everyone's in standard positions, but we'll see if they mix things up around the level 1.
Yeah, maybe we get a blind swap of some kind, because for one game, they actually haven't done the deep warding. They did get spotted out by each other with the very early wards, which is why I feel like Cloud9 is swapping back, but Team Liquid is also blind swapping up, so
Minions have spawned.
we will end up getting the inverted lanes, so to speak. And once again, they have deep wards out into the river, which would generally be able to show you if a team is interrupting your Krugs or your Gromp take. And we should see fairly standard, although it looks like the Bard Sivir do get spotted. They're going to have to go to harass this, and this should push Team Liquid off of it.
This is quite a fun game of chicken. And there's Team Liquid actually hanging out. Sneaky doesn't have a ward. Actually going to get tagged up. Ignites down. Force to fly. Matt goes in. There's the stun. Stairlight's in as well from Fabi at level 1. And Sneaky
no!
gives first blood away. And Fabi's reloaded. Bunny Fuba going to get stunned up as well. Damage is still there. That'll force a flash. And that went horribly wrong for Cloud9.
It really did, and it didn't have to. Basically, that was because Cloud9 was trying to get too much done, and they tried to check multiple things at once, but they have to predict that there's going to be a ward there that they walk over, and when they split up, they lose their advantage. It's against Braum Jhin. They can chain the CC expertly there, as Fabi had skilled up his W, which was genius after the flash to be able to catch him. And yeah, Team Liquid plays that right, but C9 make a big risk, and Bunny has no flash.
Almost eats it again as Impact and Lolo doing battle here in the bottom side. Lolo's level 2. Impact's is taking way too much damage here. Gets back towards his tower. But Lolo, with the early XP lead, somehow in the matchup, manages to manipulate the wave and get an early edge. C9 starting to fall apart a little in the laning phase. That is not their MO.
Yeah, a very poor way to start Game 3, since this is the all-important game of the series. But Meteo's going to try and get a little bit of this back. He's done a very quick 3-camp red buff coming in behind Lorlo.
Jungle is the great equalizer. Meteos going to line it up. Lolo's already taunted out of the way. Beautiful flash from Meteos, and that's the answer.
Exactly what Meteos is supposed to do. Lorlo taunts early. The only way out would be a flash. Meteos knows he's going to wait for the end of the taunt to flash, and the prediction there by Meteos was perfect to lock down Lorlo and get the kill back.
Well, things equalize here as action is thick and fast in the first 3.5 minutes of this game. Sneaky, though, still struggling a little here. Going to get zoned out after Fabi and Matt got the early lead. And Dardoch hunting in this area. Let's watch this again, though.
Yeah, this is just an expert Gragas player at work. Lorlo taunts away. He had such a small window to get that flash in. And the only way, it's part reactive, but mostly predictive. Meteos was expecting it, so he was hovering the expected flash location of Lorlo, and he does it just at the right time to get the stun in.
Well, you can see the vote there as equalized a little.
Bunny's
on
in trouble.
C9, but Bunny's going to get stunned here. Umbaro's there, stun lands, and that's the easiest kill of his life.
Yeah, and now Sneaky's in a lot of trouble. Sneaky has no minions, or sorry, no summoner spells with a few minions coming in. Meteos is going to try and help, but this is 3, maybe 4 people moving in.
Well, now he has Spell Shield. I wasn't sure if he had it before, but feel a little safer now as he hits level 3. Team Liquid back away from the play, but that was the right idea. And again, that aggression they've shown off ever since dropping that very slow game 1. Team Liquid have just come out guns blazing. Team seems energized in this final game, and that's great news for Team Liquid.
Yeah, it's like what it would mean to be able to beat Cloud9 in the series like this also. This is a Team Liquid that seems to work very heavily off momentum. They always have those like season-defining or split-defining wins. I feel like last split it was against Echo Fox when they were down 10,000 gold, and then they fought their way back into the game and were able to win, really turned their split around. This season, even though they started very poorly, again, they started their turnaround against Echo Fox. But I feel like if they can win this against Cloud9, who has been a team on such a rise, if they can take them down in such a hard-fought best-of-3, it would do so much for their confidence, especially with Fabi in the lineup as well, proving that they can do stuff, without Piglet too.
And that's been the thing for me is that, Team Liquid, in a lot of ways, are a surprisingly young team. A lot of players that really made rise in the last split were rookies that came up from TLA. Dardoch, one rookie of the split.
Yep.
And now comes in, into his now sophomore season effectively, but still as a very new player into the LCS. It's not surprising to me that TL are sort of maturing and getting better over time, because that is something you expect of a young team, but if they need a big confidence boost and a breakpoint, this game may very well be it, and a young team starting to grow up could be bad signs for the top 4 teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just makes hopefully the second half of the split all the more interesting because I personally love the best of threes so far, but one thing we've noticed is there's been very few upsets. Like, the teams that are expected to win usually win, save for CLG coming in as defending champs and struggling. But yeah, anything is possible. TL, 1,000 gold lead, 6 minutes in.
It's not bad, as we're going to continue watching things here. Phoenix did take the blue buff, so he'll return to a very even lane. Seems like him and Jensen have just been trading farm more than anything else. Sneaky still about 10 CS behind, though. So Fabi and Matt able to play aggressive as he actually goes back and gets himself a BF sword. So good little bit of power there for Jin. And Impact with a bit of pressure from Meteos up slightly onto Lolo with that fade. We'll see if he can continue maybe getting aggressive in that
hello,
lane.
he just body slammed over. Dardoch going to try and return a lot of damage.
Meteos does not have flash. There's a great snare from Fabi, but Meteos going to live it. Dardoch going to be patient and take that camp. Level 6 for Aurelia, though. Lolo going to get chunked out here. Does taunt out of the way. Impact does have a flash. He gets the last blade in, but needed the Q cooldown, did not have it back.
Yeah, but that's bad news bears for Lorlo right there, because this is what decided the first game, essentially. There was very even map movements going, but because Impact consistently beat Lorlo in those 1v1s, C9 was able to pull it back. But he has Shen this time. He can teleport, he can get level 6 shortly, and he got Impact's ultimate. So now Lorlo trying to trade back in the minion wave.
Great Spirit's Refuge. That minion wave doing work, and Lolo cleanly wins a trade there. Impact, though, just going to heal up. Got some potion charges left and has his TP to come back pretty much whenever he likes. You just don't die is the only thing you need to do in the interim.
Yeah. And Jensen threatening the flash on Burrow from Dardoch. And to speak to that Aurelia Shen matchup as well, it's potentially better for Lorlo this time, because even if Aurelia gets ahead, it's not some hyper-scaling split pusher, where Lorlo will be able to tank up and at least avoid dying later in the game.
Jensen in the gravity field actually continuing to go in, but does get some trades onto Phoenix. Phoenix stands his ground though and keeps it, but Dardoch gonna ride in with the Shen. Sneaky, tagged up by the slow. He's gonna get unbarred and stunned. Lolo kills him after he's surfacing with the ulti.
And that Shen for you. So much global pressure. Impact could have teleported in, but they were vastly outnumbered. And Team Liquid is outpacing Cloud9 consistently since that first game. They've really picked up the tempo. It is on Impact, though, to take advantage of this, because Lorlo had already teleported back into the lane, and now he's Shen ulted in, maybe even unnecessarily. Sneaky didn't use summoner spells because the Shen was there and he couldn't have escaped, but they might not have even needed them for that kill. He gives Impact a couple of free waves. Impact now has a teleport advantage, and Lorlo falls even further behind in experience.
Yep, some CS being denied. Turret took a good chunk of damage as well, so Impact doing nicely there in that particular matchup so far. Dardoch, though, on top of a ward. We're going to try and gank Jensen, who's awfully low on mana with no teleport to speak of. Not a super safe place to be, but Meteor's coming. Maybe a bait. He's on the horizon. Oh, he's spotted, though. Tremor Sense doing some work there for Dardoch. And he's still not done.
Yeah, this could be very dangerous for Team Liquid if they go too heavy on in this gank without having swept the correct spots. But he's fine.
Yeah, Dardoch just tunnels out. Both teams actually have a ward there, which maybe they don't know yet. Yeah, well, supports have come down as well. That's a real defense of the blue buff.
Yeah, they really care about that move. They were hoping to catch Jensen, who's very low. Even now, Jensen just doesn't have the mana to do much. I tell a lie. Rise always has mana. He just has so much of it. When he's low on it, he's still got several hundred.
Yeah, Tier doing work there as well for the changes. But Jensen actually does get it, and now we'll get the blue buff. Impact, though, back in onto Lolo. Spirit's Refuge out. But now goes back in for it. Well played by Impact, but a nice taunt from Lolo. Could keep him alive for a little longer. Starting to lose trades, which is kind of what we expect, but it's how far behind does Lolo fall that we'll have to see in the next few minutes.
Exactly, and how quickly can he stack armor up? I mean, he's clearly going for the Sunfire Cape first, but he started with the Bomby Cinder to try and wave clear. Maybe that wasn't necessarily the best call, because he wants to be at his turret. He's never going to get dove at his turret. With the Bomby Cinder, he's constantly pushing, and that's putting him in danger of Impact harassing him down. Once he gets armor and Sunfire Cape, I feel like he'll be all right.
Well, struggling a bit for now, but we'll see how the matchup plays out as the minutes roll on. Dardoch top side clearing things out. Seen a lot of attention, actually, towards that 2v2 in the top lane. Sneaky's died a couple times already, once at level 1. And after a great gank by Dardoch and Lolo, a second time there. But pressure seems to be up for now. Fabi with a big CS lead as a result, though. Sneaky pretty much playing catch-up for the first 10 minutes of this game, because things really did go badly from level 1.
They really did. I mean, and it also kind of speaks to Team Liquid's ability to focus in these last few games. They put a lot of resources in early into Jensen. This is Team Liquid trying to shut down Jensen in their victory. And this game, even though Sneaky made a mistake early on by splitting up from Bunny Fufu, Team Liquid has really heavily tried to just exploit that one weakness and turn it into a massive advantage. So far, pretty good, but the game definitely not in their hands yet. No Drakes have been taken, still a minor gold lead, and Sneaky, at least for now, is able to farm.
Yep, looking okay. 1,000 gold lead still there for Team Liquid, but they've held that for the last few minutes. Checking in quickly with mid lane itemization. Motivator's almost done for Jensen as he's going to scoop out a wave of minions. Phoenix though, another blue buff for himself. Going to return to lane and continue farming away. Again, sort of expecting these mid laners to want to scale up towards the early mid game power points, and they will scale well into the late game as well. But gonna need to get there first. As TL finally with a minion wave pushed to the turret in this top side. Looks like Sneaky is able to clear a good bit of ground there on the Sivir.
Yeah, I mean, when Sivir gets BF Sword and a few levels, very easy to just power clear that minion wave, which makes it harder to really shut down the Sivir unless you're actually freezing. But we talked about how difficult it is to freeze nowadays with all the pressure that can happen on the rest of the map.
Struggle still on this bottom lane. Good taunt again, but doesn't carry him to the turret. Does for one shot, actually. The Transcender Blade's out. Impact can heal up a bit. Lolo just trying to take trades where he can, which is kind of all he can ask for at this stage of the matchup. Does have that chain vest that you mentioned, though, so things getting a little bit easier.
Yeah, down 30 CS, but still actually won that trade, despite Impact using his ultimate. Dardoch really looking to get a pressure move in the jungle, but Meteos has been surprisingly resilient to this counter jungling.
Yep. Dardoch is up in CS as a result. Looks like blue buff is the highly contested objective so far. Clouddrake feeling awfully lonely in the bottom half of the map, but Cloud9, they know they need to feed Rise these blues. Jensen going to go back. Rod of Ages should be finished by now, and his teleport's ready to go if he absolutely needs to get back to lane at instant speed. Yep, there is the Rod of Ages done. Cloud9, faith as always in their mid lane, and there's a big spike for Impact as well. Trinity Force done. So the two solo laners with big points of power to try and play with. We'll see if Impact can carry this lead that he's built up for himself with a bit of help from Meteos at the start.
Yeah, and maybe he uses that Trinity Force to try and make some big plays happen throughout the map. Like, there's a ward in the Tri-Brush right now that potentially C9 could double TP on if Fabi and Matt push up beyond the halfway point in the lane. Here they're doing it, double TP.
Yep, here's the play. Matt and Fabi need to be careful. Bunny Fufu with the ulti disables the
Turn
turret.
off the
Now
turret, let's go!
Meteos forces a flash, but Fabi's now going to get ulted on by Shan. Impact straight into the backside, but Jensen dishing out damage where he can. Re-engage right from Lolo, finds the taunt for two. Under the turret there for Jensen, and he is going to go down to Dardoch. Meteos now getting chased, but Lolo low. Sneaky out in the magical journey, gets himself to safety. No, it's not. Matt finds him with the tag. There's the flash out under the snare, but Dardoch flashes forward. Meteos re-engaging, but a huge cosmic binding lands on a two, and Phoenix arrives. Dardoch gets himself a kill. Sneaky going to get plowed down as well. Meteor stunned under his turret, and that's another one. Team Liquid with the big team fight win, and Bunny gonna keep running.
They're still going. 4 kills for Team Liquid right there, and it is so impressive how they continually turn Cloud9's aggression on its head. The double teleport dive, and C9 get nothing. Not only did Cloud9 invest all of their playmaking on that play, the play is made against them, putting them into an even larger hole. What a turnaround by Team Liquid.
And let's watch it again. C9, you can see what they wanted to do. You called the play before it happened.
Yeah.
And it started so well and ended so badly.
Yeah, because technically Team Liquid's not in position to do this. They have a Shen and the Rek'Sai on the wrong side of the map. Rek'Sai ults in, so does Shen onto Fabi. And Matt stays alive. The Gragas ultimate gets blocked by the shield, so it automatically knocks him backwards. Then Lolo gets a huge taunt in, and Fabi Jhin ults. He's so good at Jhin ulting at the start of fights. That's what he needs to do when they're getting dove like that. And all the way from base, Victor is coming. Matt and Dardoch continue to put some damage on. Rise is already dead, and Sneaky is behind. So there's not that much damage in this fight. So Team Liquid's able to continue pushing. And then the guts to continue this dive. Notice how Matt takes 4 turret shots, and Phoenix only takes 1 on the back end, which allows him to continue pushing. Second turret shot at the very end didn't matter. But wow, what a momentum swing for Team Liquid.
Bunny Fufu, a clutch binding to keep himself alive right towards the very end of it. Otherwise, that would have been an ace for Team Liquid at under the 15-minute mark. Lolo certainly feels like he's caught up now. Kill and a couple of assists for himself. And Cloud9, all that momentum gone. Team Liquid up almost 3,500 gold at the early stages. An impact under the turret. Meteos here looking for the dive, though. But Lolo's pretty tanky. Pops up the refuge, and good luck.
I mean, Meteos is still going to go for it.
They're going. Lolo, little too squishy still. Damage is there, and Impact will get the kill. Well played, Meteos.
You can see how difficult it is, though, for an Aurelia to kill the Sunfire Cape Shen, but Meteos obviously still has high base damages on Gragas, can jump in there for the burst, and now they go for Team Liquid in the mid lane.
Big old Bunny Fufu, sneaky tries to absorb the binding, misses Phoenix, gravity field's down, damage is there from the Victor, they might turn it around, Jensen does fall there, and Bunny's lucky to be alive. Sneaky will get Phoenix on the back end, but that's a trade that should have been a clean win for C9.
Yeah, and a rare misplay by Bunny on a strictly mechanical move. Usually his timings are perfect on Bard and Thresh and being able to chain CC, but he mistimed his Cosmic Binding when coming out of the Tempered Fate, and that opened up a window for that kill to be traded back. So C9 making some big plays because Team Liquid, after a massive counter, left themselves open to a few more plays, but a slight miscalculation keeps it less favorable for Cloud9.
Yeah, this game starting to get pretty crazy. Hands right out in front as teams are throwing punch after punch. Fabi does claim the outer turret in the bottom lane. So TL now up 2 turrets to 1 as a watch Bunny's great initiation once again.
Yeah, zooming through after picking up all those meeps, lands a Bard ult on 2, and just Cosmic Binds a little early. Stops them from stunning Phoenix. They do root him, but that means he can use his full burst right back onto Jensen. And that last auto attack sneaks through to finish him off. That was very nearly another dive gone wrong for C9, but they do pick up the 1.
Yep, they trade the kill back and shorten the gold lead a little bit. Still up for about 3k though for Team Liquid as Phoenix continuing to roll on. Gets himself another blue buff and going that same build we saw from the Victor last game. Right, that should be coming up after those 2 Hex Core upgrades as Team Liquid are finally interested in the Cloud Drake. I tell a lie, they're looking for a kill.
Yeah, I mean, they can get him.
Bunny knocked up again, Magical Journey's out, but he might make it a safety. Fabi with a bullet lands on a Bunny. There's the second as the stun's good. And Sneaky lucky to be alive as well.
One unfortunate thing about the Magical Journey is it will tell you where he is going to be. And Fabi aims at the end of the Magical Journey, gets another kill onto Bunny, and extends the Team Liquid advantage.
Well, Drake also goes over to Team Liquid, so they'll pick up the first one of the game. Not nearly as explosive as their Drakes in the last game, but they'll take it, as the next Drake will be a Mountain Drake. Curious to see what happens there. C9, though, could open up for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, this is really big. It takes him a little while to do Rift Herald. It's 18 minutes in, though, so it's going to fall a little bit faster. This would be the ideal time for it because Impact could have the buff until 38 minutes, but Team Liquid doesn't want this to happen. Lorlo has ultimate, and C9's not making this mistake again.
Yep. They do not want to face check a very aggressive Team Liquid. Phoenix still in the mid lane. Could rotate over any moment, so smart there from C9 to not take it, but it'll phase out in a few minutes and they won't get it at all. Impact, who probably wanted to extend that lead in that matchup, might not get a chance to. C9 just defending that mid lane turret. They do successfully do so for now. But Team Liquid again, despite how close the game is, they do have a lead, but the pressure seems to be in Team Liquid's hands.
Really is, because Cloud9's plays have backfired a little bit. They still need to be able to force these because they technically have lane pressure with Impact over Lorlo for now. And a lot of it would be on Bunny Fufu landing a good Tempered Fate to allow C9 to run in. But having that play not necessarily work a few times in a row makes them a little bit gun shy, and I feel like that gives Team Liquid time to make the counter plays. Not to mention, Shen, great at countering. Fabi is always positioned so far back on Jhin because he's pretty much just using his ultimate and his long-range W as his entire kit right now, unless he's being really dove on. Making it really hard for C9 to make plays.
I mean, it's funny, very utility-focused bottom lane here, but it's certainly working out for Team Liquid because Dardoch and Phoenix are more than making up for the dive team at this stage. Jensen again snared up. They're going to go straight in for it. Ulti's out there from the Braum, but the Bard ulti does not protect them enough. Phoenix goes in as now Meteos gets knocked up and is forced to flash out. Team Liquid going to knock down mid-turret as well.
Yeah, and once again, this long-range initiation is just beautiful. Fabi chaining 1 CC into the rest of Team Liquid's damage, and they're just continually punishing C9. One thing that happened there, though, is Lorlo did ultimate down, so that gives Impact a little bit of time to push top.
Well, tower does fall after the play, so a kill there onto Jensen and a tower for their trouble. Break the key mid lane structure. Impact not able to finish off that top side. Lorlo there in time with the teleport still ready. There's pressure also down the bottom lane, but Sneaky has to bail with absolutely no vision of the rest of Team Liquid. Phoenix comes down. He'll collect the wave that Sneaky pushed towards him. The Team Liquid just making so much use of the Rek'Sai Jhin combo. Prey Seeker is aptly named in this composition.
Yeah, and the one saving grace for Cloud9, despite all the kills that have been going through, is their wave pressure. But watching this fight one more time, Matt hits the Q, and then everything else is just piled on top. Jensen flashes and still isn't able to stay alive. Then the ultimate comes in from Shin onto Dardoch to make them flash away to safety. It's going to be very difficult for Cloud9 to make plays here.
Starting to get a little out of reach for Cloud9. Team Liquid, 4,000 gold up now. No Drake to get just yet, but they're kind of prepping for the vision in the area. They'll take out the Scuttle. Fabi's going to move down to the bottom lane now. He's got a rapid fire cannon to kind of accentuate his long-range Jhin playstyle.
Staying as far back as possible, man. And it's working for him. Maxing Deadly Flourish as well on Jhin. I need to touch up on my Jhin builds. I've seen a lot of them max Q, but the W max definitely working for his playstyle right now.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. May not be standard, but certainly working for Fabi in the way Team Liquid do want to play a lot of these initiations. Rift Herald off the map, by the way. Baron is now spawned, of course, because we're 21.5 minutes almost into the game. So Impact did not get a chance for that buff. Team Liquid did a great job deflecting that attempt. And again, it still feels like they're in control. Cloud9,
Yeah.
how are they going to find their way back into this game and even it up?
And it has to be through playmaking. And it just becomes even more difficult because if we think about how Team Liquid got here in the first place, it was the reversal of the Cloud9 play attempt. But you're running a double TP team if you're Cloud9. You have Aurelia and Ryze. You're all about flanking and forcing some nice teleport plays. So here, their double TP actually runs bottom lane, and they're going to try and go for a kill on Lorlo. This would be a start of something good if they can get it.
There's the snare. Equilibrium Strike lands in. The Blade Surge follows. And now Transcendent Blades picking away at Lorlo. Not enough left, though. Impact does have to move away, but Cloud9 are here.
Yep, and now the counter attempt.
Oh, good ulti. I think tried to hit onto Fabi. Cancels the rest of those shots. Fabi just pulled the ulti out and walked away.
Yeah, Lorlo still hasn't healed, so he had to go all the way back to base. A little bit preemptive on Team Liquid for trying to go for that initiation. Although it is very troubling for Cloud9. They burn their... well, they don't burn really anything, but you can see the double solo laners unable to take down Shen. And since the rest of Team Liquid is grouping up, the picks become questionable for what C9 would be able to do.
And this push looking okay. Bunny Fufu actually clears some things out with the Meeps as Meteos and Dardoch having a duel. Matt there to protect his jungler, but Meteos kind of losing the early end of that trade. C9 they're able to hold some turrets for now. Good spell shield from Sneaky prevents some of the early dive pressure, but not the turret being taken. Team Liquid in position, knock down a fourth turret. Oh, Sneaky
nearly bursted.
Oh, that W almost enough. Needs a bit more damage, but doesn't have it on Bunny. Oh, it hurts. The Rylo's doing work there for Victor.
Woo. They get both summoner spells as well, so really just so much long-range threat coming out of Team Liquid right now, and they continue to take map pressure. And that is one thing. Impact picking Aurelia blind, Lorlo easily picking the shit into it, and he's losing the lane horribly in CS. But the matchup is so survivable for the Shen that really Impact hasn't been able to do much in this game.
Yeah, not yet at least. Although Jensen does pick up his Seraph, so power's starting to come on for a lot of the C9 carries, but like we keep mentioning, Cloud9 are kind of running out of time to make that play we talk about. It gets to a point where that one play that you want to make to catch up kind of turns into 2, then 3, then 5, and then the game ends. Cloud9 do not have unlimited time to make this game work unless they want to go super late and try and win it then, and I don't think they want a coin flip for this final game.
Exactly, and even then, you're just like, would they really scale better? The Aurelia, I don't think scales as well as Shen in the late game. Victor and Ryze both are amazing. Sivir technically can hyperscale, but that requires a perfect team fight, and Team Liquid's fighting from such long range that they can't get these things. Like, I think you could make the argument that Team Liquid is stronger in the late game, but Cloud9 would just really need to make picks. So, more favorable towards Cloud9, and Dardoch is still everywhere.
Yeah, Dardoch is just monstering people. Has a Titanic this build time around as well. Sneaky caught out maybe. Dardoch looks for the flash and doesn't get it.
Yeah, big miscalculation there by Dardoch to flash on Burr and not get the knockup. That's a pretty critical misplay, actually, because that's one of his big initiation tools.
Well, doesn't find it then, but Team Liquid pressure still there. Impact hanging out on the bottom side, but Lolo just here to clean things out. And Team Liquid, 4-man strong, shoving down mid once again. Might even look to break here, as Impact knows he kind of has to be with his team more. And Liquid do back away. They're going to consolidate resources back to the Mountain Drake instead.
Yeah, they're going to cash in their map pressure for Drake. They send everyone there. It gives C9 some breathing room. C9 is able to run out of their base, get some wards around the Baron area. But I think the investment is worth it. 25 minutes in, the Mountain Drake becomes very critical because they need to be able to threaten Baron, Dragon, and turrets more quickly.
Team Liquid still in control. Matt maybe caught, but he hops out to safety. Bottle, big Bunny. Lines up the stun, doesn't get Phoenix. Now Shen's going to ride into the ulti. Impact now taking damage. And Meteos with the ulti tries to keep his team alive, but Lolo's here in the house. Dardoch now unstoppable as he takes out Aurelia, and Bunny Fufu going to get chased down. He flashes out after the unburrows. Jensen just trying to get Lolo and Fabi off his tail, but he can't do it. He'll flash out from under the taunt, and that might get him to safety, but now Meteos is in trouble. Long range stay, not enough. Jensen again dodges out, but Phoenix gonna chase him down. Meteos now caught out 1v5, and he's dead. Phoenix grabs the double.
And I think the stomp is on right now. 7,000 gold. They keep running down C9, and even when it seems like C9 catch TL out of position, they just do not have the damage right now, and Team Liquid just crushed them as the collapse happened from that team fight. Looks like this Baron is all but Team Liquid.
Meteos not alive to steal it this time around. Dardak will be able to smite this one away. Doesn't even have it. Doesn't need it. As Fabi gets the last hit on the Baron, and Team Liquid approach a real big breaking point.
They're going again.
Breaks it with the Prey Seeker. Spell shield off. Lolo's here. Goodbye, Sneaky.
Yeah, you mentioned breaking point. The game might be broken right now. Continually cycling deaths onto Cloud9 really feels like the momentum is continually in Team Liquid's favor right now. Dardoch is unstoppable. Phoenix is huge. Fabi is contributing very well. And really, if you take out the first game of this series and you count like the 5,000 gold they had in the game that was remade, this has been Team Liquid 3 early games in a row beating Cloud9.
Yeah, and that one game where Team Liquid honestly looked like they play a little scared. We talked about the adjustments they've made them, and now storming into C9's base. This tower is not defensible, and it falls down. I don't think it's inhibitors either. Cloud9 have almost run out of options at this point.
Yeah, 10,000 gold, just like that, 26 minutes in, and the items will continue to pour in for Team Liquid, whereas Jensen and Sneaky are still woefully far behind when compared to Phoenix and Fabi. Watching this fight again, Jensen's on a pink ward, so the start is nice. Obviously, he gets his Braum ultimate up, though, so that blocks a lot of Sneaky's damage. And then they can't chain on Phoenix. He did flash immediately, so it's nearly impossible to chain that in. But he gets the ultimate down with Rylai's. That basically kills Impact. Fabi then arrives, and that hits Jensen with the Roof from Deadly Flourish. Lorlo then just keeps pace on him, and like the rest of C9 is trying to run away because really everyone is untouched and the damage is already gone for C9, so they can just continue to chase people down. Jensen has to juke backwards. A nice juke from the Jhin, but that puts him right into the claws of Phoenix. Meteos, as well as full tank Gragas, really has no threat and is stuck between the rest of the team. Dardak feels good about that one.
Yep. Pat and Phoenix on the back as Phoenix has gone a little bit off this game. 5-1-3. The Rabadon's now finished. If there was ever a statement saying, I want this game to end, it is this Victor build. Phoenix has decided that he's not interested in losing any more games. No prisoners being taken this time around. Team Liquid have such a big lead.
Yeah, 622 ability power. Very offensive Victor build. Dardoch has gone Warmogs, 4,000 health. That'll increase the damage from his Titanic Hydra. It scales off of bonus health. And Lorlo with the Baron buff is a huge split push threat against the Aurelia. Team Liquid executes properly, they can end this game shortly.
Lolo almost looked to dive with a bit of help from the Baron Dart minions. Impact cannot win that particular 1v1. Cloud9 have Supermins to worry about in the mid lane. Their turrets are starting to get attacked from both sides. There's a Mountain Drake up in a few minutes. Everything is going Team Liquid's way, and Cloud9 need something pretty close to a miracle, if not an actual miracle, to try and save this game.
Yep, Impact had to go back to base. It looks like C9 is going to try one desperate initiation. Look for Bard ult and then attempt to engage.
They've got it ready to go. Do they look for it?
I feel like they have to. They're going to lose an inhibitor on the other side. Team Liquid knows this. They're not giving them the window.
Yep, smart play from Team Liquid. Just playing push and pull. Know that Lolo has the pressure. Almost a rank 3 ulti as well, just to make it even sweeter. Impact comes back down, but again, he can't challenge. Gonna try. Lolo says no.
Yeah. By the way, you can't hit me when I press this button. That helps. He also regens pretty well at the moment. Sneaky's in base.
This is it. There's the Bud ulti. They got Fabi and Phoenix, but they can't follow in for it. Fabi gets snared up, but Meteor's just getting taken out. And there's Lolo in. Who's he going to look for? Taunt misses, but they've broken the turret. That might not matter. C9 trying to kite as best they can, but they're sort of out of buttons to use.
Yeah. Team Liquid missed a lot of skill
Sneaky.
shots.
Dardoch goes straight in for him, and Sneaky's forced to flash out of the way. Meteors gets one in. Lolo CC'd into the backside. They might be able to get it. Impact takes out Fabi on the back line. 2v1 right now, now 1v4. Cloud9 I think might hold, but Impact, I don't think you can live. Dardoch's going to chase him down, and Impact's going to try the best he can. Hops over to the Grunt, which is adorable.
Oh.
And Team Liquid are still chasing him down. Impact, he's pretty speedy.
He might be able to jump to the scuttle. No, Phoenix gets him. Either way, a pretty good hold by Cloud9 actually. TL missed a bunch of skill shots early on in that fight, which allowed C9 to stay in that one. And that also gave Impact somehow, I think he snuck out the base gate to get that flank off. Or he flashed in, because he still had his teleport up. Normally you only get on a Fabi if you teleport in behind. But because TL had missed so many skill shots, Lorlo had still gone in because Phoenix thought he had the burst. They technically hold. They lose the turret, but they do not lose the game.
Well, how many more times does C9 need to do something like that before the game ends? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Remember, Sneaky was in base when this happened, but they changed so much CC onto Fabi, and Fabi actually used his QSS right before a Bard stun, so the CC extended. And now he has no escapes. And look at Impact. He's just waiting for his window, waiting for his window. And looks like when Phoenix moves up to ultimate, he goes for Fabi. Phoenix actually ignores Impact. They could have killed him and saved Fabi, but Phoenix saw a bigger play. That allows Impact to get a kill off of. And then they decide to do the chase. And we've seen this all run around. He gets a nice ward in to jump to Gromp. Nearly got his Blade Surge up again before jumping to Scuttle Crab, but Phoenix able to keep pace. Cuts him off, gets the kill.
Well, it's crucial time, if nothing else, for his team. But Team Liquid, so they pop out back to live. Gonna take that Mountain Drake for themselves. 2 mountains and a cloud will be all the Drakes in this game, and they all belong to Team Liquid. Baron up in a minute 30. Elder Dragon will be the next spawn in 6 minutes time. TL just taking C9's jungle for themselves, because at this point it certainly belongs to them. And Cloud9, how many more of those you got in your back pocket? You're gonna need a few.
Yeah, they're gonna need a lot of those miracle holds. I don't feel like Team Liquid will miss those shots again. Fabi is out of summoners, so he's gonna have to be very careful, but potentially more patience from TL this time.
And they're still so far ahead. Cloud9, even when they find the spots, it's kind of hard for them to leverage their position because they don't have the goal to do so. Look at Impact. I think he's healing Lolo whenever he hits him.
Yeah.
He's just trying to clear the waves out. Lolo's onto the inhib though.
Yeah, this is actually a little bit interesting with Baron being gone and Baron being up again in a minute. I don't know if Team Liquid would actually be able to go through unless they get a pick. The turret's so low though that they're going to continue to try.
Cosmic Binding down. Impact.
Lolo's just coming over for the fight.
Oh, again they find Fabi and Phoenix. Bunny Fufu making the play, but Gragas ulti doesn't find them. They're still trying to get in there though, but Jensen gets melted as Phoenix goes crazy. And the binding's in, but Meteor's caught on the front side in the gravity field. Sneaky now gonna get chased down. Team Liquid gonna clean things up as Phoenix get a double kill. Bunny goes down as well. A triple for Phoenix. Flashes straight in on Impact. They might even dive the fountain to get snared up. They don't go too for it though. And Team Liquid gonna sail in to end the game.
They had to take the inhibitor instead. They're making sure they secure this kill, and then there's just too much tank and damage down the stretch for Team Liquid with this team fight team at the end of it. And yeah, a couple more next turrets and they got this game.
Yeah, Impact not enough to try and take this down. Team Liquid is going to charge forward and take down the Nexus. Cloud9 will finally fall as Team Liquid topple a giant to take the series.
Yeah, and C9 was looking so good last week to come into this one. This is a big upset, I feel like. Liquid taking them down. 4-4, they will improve to 5-4 with the first half of their split officially being complete right now. And the adversity they had to overcome to make this happen cannot be understated. They lost that first game badly from a kill death perspective. Double-digit kills to just one of their own. Then they bounced back only to have the game remade when they were winning by 5,000 gold. But they are undeterred. They go on to win Game 2 and Game 3 against Cloud9. And that's got to feel good.
Certainly does, and it almost feels like Liquid are the team that you do not want to make angry, because Team Liquid did the necessary response, but the most difficult one. Because placed in that situation, the most important thing to do is refocus and fight back even harder. And that series just looked more and more one-sided as Liquid played more and more games.
It really did. They seemed to be able to deconstruct what Cloud9 was doing. Every time Cloud9 went to make a big play, TL was there with an answer. And all of the two big matchups we kind of focused on was the Meteos versus Dardoch, where Dardoch was able to counter-gank Meteos in most of the situations, and then also Phoenix versus Jensen, because there's so much talk about Jensen being one of the top mid laners in NA, if not the top mid laner, and I'm not saying that's not the case, but Team Liquid focused him so heavily with so many ganks that Phoenix was able to prevail in a lot of these games, and when he was on Victor, he became an unstoppable force.
And I think a lot of the things we've seen from Team Liquid have been like some bright spots, but never really come together. Beating Cloud9, given the form that they've been on recently, requires a lot of teamwork. You mentioned it. Collapsing on people with double TPs and global ultimates everywhere is no mean feat, and Liquid look more together than they ever have all split long. That is a very strong sign for a team that was looking for a kind of a way to eject themselves at full speed into the second half of the split. Well, you beat Cloud9. That's going to do it.
It's going to do it. And you listen to the way Dardog talks about Fabi, he really likes having him on that team. And you can see in game the cohesion coming together, because if you retro back and you look at all the game-changing moments in this series, Cloud9 lost that first game because of an individual outplay. Impact beating Lorlo a couple of times, and then it fell apart. But then in all of the games that Team Liquid won, it was Cloud9 trying to catch them out of position and Team Liquid collapsing as a single unit and always making it back into just the right spot to turn around a bunch of kills. And it's crazy because they were up against a Twisted Fate Shen double teleport team and then a Rise Aurelia double teleport team. And every time they turned it against Cloud9. That was very impressive.
Yeah, it's even little things like draft just felt like Team Liquid learned more and more as they adapted and were, I think, honestly, able to outpick, especially in that last game. Like, Aurelia's a fine champion, but there was a risk picking up blind. They knew the Shen was up. They first picked it in game 1.
Yeah.
And Impact looked great on it. Like, I don't know what happened there, but a bit of a collapse from C9 finally stops their streak, and Team Liquid, a huge windfall after that series win.
Yeah, I do think that's really confusing, the fact that Impact didn't go with the Shen in the final game, but ultimately it felt like Team Liquid continually picked better and better team fighting team compositions, and then were just able to force the team fights and not get split apart.
Well, let's hear more from Liquid. It's going to hand it off to Kobe on the stage for a post-game talk with Liquid's winning support.
That's right. I'm here with Matt after their grueling best of 3-4 series right there, best of 5. Yeah, congratulations on your win. That must have taken a lot for you guys to come back from a remake in that game and then win the next 2. Do you learn anything about yourselves? Do you guys grow as a team during an experience like that? Do you bond?
Yeah, I mean, after game 1, especially for me, because I was messing up a lot. Basically, that game, we just had one big mistake, and it snowballed into us losing the game. So even after game 1, heading into game 2, even though we were winning in the first part of it because of the bug remake, it was really hard after that game 2 to mentally reset. And that's really what it took to have all 5 of our players go through what was a really tough first 2 games. And yeah, we played pretty well after that.
Yes, you did. They say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I guess you guys are stronger now. People really like to speculate, actually, as to the communication that goes on in-game for teams. Who was the one really bringing the team together, refocusing after that loss, or, was it a group effort?
Oh, for sure, Dardoch. Dardoch was... he was just so commanding that game. I think after game 1 and 2, I was very timid because I was messing up a lot. After the pause, it was really hard for me to just get back into the game. And I thought it'd be just the same for Dardoch, but even though it was just as hard for him, he really picked it up, and I'm really proud to call him my teammate.
Yeah, he really seems to be growing into one of those great leaders. Now I have another question about a different teammate, Fabi in the bottom lane. Everybody's also speculating about, Fabi versus Piglet. Let's just narrow it down. You're the guy that plays with them in lane. For you, what is the biggest difference between these games I have of Fabi and the games I had with Piglet?
So I think the biggest difference, it wouldn't be like mechanical. I feel like Fabi is definitely going to be closer to Piglet than a lot of the LCS AD carries. I think he's decently close. It's just what really comes down to is experience. Like in a lot of situations, Fabi doesn't know quite as much as Piglet would. Like Piglet, for every situation, he knows what he's doing. So the difference is I am usually the one following around Piglet, but with Fabi, I have to be the one who, steps up, talks more, and just really has to dictate where me and Fabi go.
Well, you guys look good with that Braum Jhin combo. A couple of kills there. Now, your next game coming up is Envy. Did double check it. What do you think right now? Because Envy, they've gone through some trouble. Last week, they lost a couple games with a pretty hard schedule. What do you think you guys have really identified as their biggest weakness right now?
Oh, geez, man, they're right behind me. Come on. I think Envy is a pretty good team. I think they do pretty well for... Very good team, actually.
Great team, guys.
I feel like they're about...
Is it Laud?
Yeah, they're definitely going to win the next game, so they're really strong.
Nice. All right, well, congratulations on your win, and good luck on your win, guys. We're going to send it over to the desk now. Or no desk.
That's right, there's no desk.
No desk. Kobe trying to start like an all-out brawl there on the LCO stage.
They're right behind me.
Matt hasn't looked yet, so I'm going to ask him some kind of question that's going to piss a lot of people off, and we're going to have our first real fist fight.
Hey, Dash,
on
how do you feel about the
LCS
cameraman right here?
Yeah, I hate him. Yeah,
they're the worst.
No, we have the best crew behind these cameras helping us through the shows. Anyway, let's dive into this series as Team Liquid did come out on top of Cloud9 2-1, 2.5-1, however you want to say it.
They won.
It's not debatable. They won this best
one
of
game,
3
they won the
series.
match.
And I, before we get into too much about this game, I want to jump back now and just remind everyone that at the beginning of the day, we threw out the fact that with one exception in that CLG beat Team Liquid, the standings were exactly as they should be. All of the teams' wins were against teams below them, and all of their losses were against teams above them. So this is the second deviation from that we've had so far this split, which I find very fascinating. And we will return to that. Now I want to walk through this game, get this down, and we can reapproach that kind of macro picture.
I'll go to that later on. Yeah, this game was awesome. And it's funny because I know in the previous game I was like, yeah, that whole playing tanks on Lorlo thing. There's one thing that supersedes Lorlo playing tanks, and that Lorlo and Dardoch are really, really close friends, and their synergy is so freaking on point. Like, this is one of the best top jungle synergies in League of Legends. Like, these guys are so tight together. And when you give Dardoch something that goes ham, and you give one of his best friends Shen, those guys are making a ham sandwich, and they're going hard on somebody. And what was great is Liquid were a little bit gifted in an advantageous 2-on-2. Whoops, a face check. Whoops, Bart's missing a flash. And then they were constantly bashing those guys in the 2-on-2 and honestly sneaky. But he never really stood a chance where suddenly, well, here's a Shen-empowered Rek'Sai. Whoop, here's a Shen-empowered Rek'Sai. And kills and kills and kills kept showing up in that lane. And it was a nice battering ram to kind of break the game open, even though Impact was actually getting a couple kills on their Lorlo.
Yeah, everyone knows that Shen's favorite food is a ham sandwich.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the point about Impact actually did have a handle on that lane for some time, but we do know that Shen will eventually outscale Aurelia.
Yeah.
Unless you build specifically for the 1v1, because we were talking about, you can build a pork and all this, that, the other thing.
But you're already losing the rest of the map so hard.
You become immensely less effective in the team fights. And so, yeah, sure, Impact actually had some solid individual performances, but more so than anything, I mean, that awful level 1 for Cloud9, and then the correct diagnosis from Team Liquid to return gank that lane over and over again was really how they created their advantages. And I love Jat and Pastry's point about how as the series went on, Team Liquid looked more and more dominant. And this wasn't just a case of Cloud9 making mistakes, right? Sometimes we do look at teams or upset games and say, well, the better team just didn't show up today. I don't think that this is the case here. Sure, Cloud9 made mistakes, but Team Liquid really took it to them this time around and did create their own advantage. I mean, just 13 minutes into the game, Cloud9 stabbing for a turret dive here, and Team Liquid turn it in a beautiful 4-for-0.
And it starts so well. Shut off the turret dive. Great flash by Fabi, by the way. Predicts what Jensen didn't do over in game 2 and whatnot, and the fight breaks out. But Fabi's totally safe, so the ult comes in, and C9 suddenly realizes they have bitten off more than they can chew. Victor's not even in this fight. This is a 5v4 that Liquid are getting kills in. Even though they're not under the turret anymore, they're just kind of chasing on down. And it gets really close. Liquid knows that Victor's coming in. By the way, C9 doesn't. They're like, oh, we can just smash these guys. Easy, easy. Just kidding. Flash, ult, death ray, goodbye. And you know, fortunate by Liquid, they survived that. Dardoch was so low, if he weren't getting the earlier kills from ganking that earlier 2-on-2, he probably would have died, and that fight would have been a bit closer. But you can see, like, even really sick plays, you predict the flash, you get away, you prevent the engage, right? And you cannot do that on reflex. You must do it on prediction. Fabi did, and that's awesome. When Matt's talking about, well, Piglet knows more things. Yeah, of course, but this guy's still top of rank play, right? This guy's been challenger for like 7 years straight. Right. Okay, less than that because it's not been how long rank's been out, but Fabi is that good of a player. He's like, there's a Gragas, this is gonna be body slam flash, get out of there. I just baited everybody. Sick, good job.
And in this game, Team Liquid felt like they had way more control than the rest, as we mentioned. With that early gold lead, they moved to a pretty easy victory on this one. Player of the game is going to go to Dardoch, 6-0 and 11 on Rek'Sai. 90% kill participation when there's that much action in the game is very impressive.
Right, I mean, he's the one making all the action. He's like, oh, bot lane's low? Oh, I'm sorry you guys got first blood in a 2v0. I'm sorry I couldn't be part of that one. But let me go ahead and, smack these guys up a bit more. So, I mean, definitely great play by Dardoch. It's the right choice to go to that side of the map, and when he needs to support Lorlo, he will, but when he knows he's going to smack a 2-on-2, he's going to do that and have Lorlo back him up.
And I found that a really cool little bit of insight in the interview with Matt, where he was talking about the mentality, and the person who led them in that realm was Dardoch, right? And it's almost obvious that that would be the guy, right?
Once you know him, you get it.
When you know Dardoch, you're like, that's a dude who walks off the stage and is like, whether he's furious or happy or whatever, he's fueled by it and he's motivated to get back out there and win. He does just that. He helps the team. Now, I do want to return really quickly to that kind of macro point that we made, since at the beginning of the day we talked about standings. Here now, Team Liquid beats C9.
Yes.
Freak, please.
Okay.
Explain.
Right, so the question is it an upset or is Liquid this good? And here's my hypothesis. It's a pipe dream, but here we go. Liquid were 1-3 in the first 2 weeks, and then enter Fabi, and Dardoch stays in. That lineup is 4-1.
Yes.
Okay, some easier matches, whatnot, but the loss to CLG, the loss to Envy were at the older lineup with Piglet and in one case Moon in that matchup. So now you've got Liquid, who get a rematch against Envy tomorrow with Dardoch and Fabi in. Right? They just took down C9, who's a third place team. Like, if this is a third place team, these results now make sense.
Yes.
They keep this roster together. That's what Liquid are now in store for. And if you believe that, this is a 7-2 run.
Right.
In the back half. Like, the only loss this Liquid squad had was to Immortals.
Yeah.
Oh no, you lost a PO3 to Immortals. What a garbage team, right? So, like, this is honestly a really bright point. We might see Liquid play this well continuously.
So it just makes tomorrow's matchup against Envy all that much more interesting because if you do forgive the losses that they had in the earlier portions of the split due to the roster mix-ups and
right.
stuff,
And finding a
then they
style that
really
works for
might
them.
actually be a third-place team, which is very I just think this is very exciting because
I
we
agree.
had just talked about how the league was it's clear. Here's
Yeah,
your top
top
four,
four.
here's your bottom three, and these guys in the middle. Well, that might not be the case anymore, which is fabulous. It means we've got some exciting League of Legends to come on the back half of this split. All right, that's going to do it for this series, closing out Team Liquid the victors. Now, earlier in the day, we asked you to connect with us on Twitter with the question, what's been the biggest LCS surprise so far this summer? Here are some of your responses. First up, Duckling says the biggest surprise this split is the MSI runner-up and returning NALCS champions not being in the top 3. I mean, that in and of itself, I agree 100%. We talked about it a little bit. You have this expectations, defending champions, even if you take some time off, even if the meta changes a little bit out of your favor, I would still expect you to be higher than 7th.
Flash Wolves, undefeated MSI. G2, first place in Europe. They took a vacation, but hey, SKT, top 4, not bad, right? What happened to these? Oh, CLG's just, right? And so you can no longer like draw a bunch of lines.
So the jury's still out a little bit on that one.
What I will say is I got to talk to Smoothie, and he said that CLG is looking a whole lot better in practice games. So CLG, he says they think their back half will be much better. Maybe they start getting back on track.
All right, so a little bit of inside information there. We'll see if that comes to fruition in their actual games. Now, TSM got a couple mentions as well. Arcalis Judd said TSM still undefeated, might win their 4th NALCS this time. And I just have to agree.
Yeah.
Right? This is more a situation where it's like, yeah, they look damn good. They are undefeated. Who's going to stop them?
I absolutely agree. TSM look amazing, right? Rookie Biofrost doing just fine, honestly. Like he and Fabi coming in, fresh
Speaking
blood,
of
doing wonderfully.
Biofrost, we have a tweet about him. Along Legacy Aeon says, Biofrost doing so well for a rookie support. The future is bright for him and the team. And I don't know if you want to continue on the Biofrost hype train here.
I mean, I feel like at this point, like Biofrost is rookie of the split. And like there's players who are doing wonderfully, right? Like Fabi's doing awesome as well. Like he's, of course, a runner in this one. But like if TSM just keep winning all their matches, like how do you not vote for the rookie on the like how do you not do that, right? Like Dardoch got it. No
Don't
big
challenge
surprise.
me. I will find a way.
I mean, look, people can vote how they want, but like at this point, just everyone's kind of believing the hype now. Biofrost definitely very good, solid player. TSM are wonderful.
Without a doubt, Biofrost is making his bid for rookie in the split. Finally, a little bonus tweet action. Kurgliashav, I really hope, please let me know if I got that wrong. Kurgliashav shared the best way to kick back and watch the North American LCS. He says, finally, I got why I spend money on a good TV in 2016. I mean, there's nothing. Look how many TVs we get to watch.
We have
8 TVs.
8 times your television.
This is
Actually,
pretty sweet.
there's more too, because there's one over there that we can look at.
That's true.
I can
You guys don't
myself
get to
in
see that
as
one.
well.
But we get to see giant versions of the LCS. Actually, it's sometimes a little bit LCS overload.
I think it's funny how pixelated it is, though. Because I know it's in higher quality than that.
Well, he needs to invest in a better camera. He spent all the money on the TV.
It's on mobile mode, right? It's like a 240p glory.
Sorry, we digress. Anyway, we have finished our first series here, but there's more league action coming right up as Echo Fox takes on Envy in our second match of the night. We're back in just 3.5. Jeez.
All the motion Josh has, all the everything you guys have, like going to the gym afterwards, like proving yourself, we can do that afterwards, okay? Right now, it's all in the present, no past, no future. Don't think about what happened before. Don't think about what's going to happen after. I need 100% focus on this game, okay?
Jungle is the great equalizer. Meteos can line it up. Lola's already taunted out of the way. Beautiful flash from Meteos, and that's the answer.
I have shield soon. I have shield soon.
Hell yeah, Phoenix. W need.
I got Saber too. I'm taking time. I'm taking 2 more shots. I'm taking 1 more shot. I can take 2 more.
I can get Phoenix goes crazy. And the binding's in, but Meteos caught on the front side in the gravity field. Sneaky now gonna get chased out. Team Liquid gonna clean things up as Phoenix get a double kill. But he goes down as well. A triple for Phoenix. Cloud9 will finally fall as Team Liquid topple a Giant to take the series.